Hey guys, what is up? It is your boy Dwayne. Um, so normally I do something a lot different on Wednesdays. Um, I normally um don't do something like I'm about to do. So I'm sharing my testimony here with you guys today on the Freedom Revolution Network. Um, because one as a host, I feel it's important to know where a host has come from. And for two, um, this is just, I guess this is me saying that you guys are going to hear some things that you guys normally never hear. And two, viewer discretion is advised, guys. Um, this has been one of the worst things, not one of the worst things, but one of the greatest things. Um, so I wanted to come and share with you guys my testimony. I'm waiting for Scarlett to get in here. I have a bottle of water ready. Um, but so guys, we can go ahead and get this open up with the word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you for this amazing time. We thank you for this amazing uh, service together, Lord. I know this is different from what I normally do, but God, I just ask you to bless my heart, bless the words that are going to come out of my mouth. And Lord, just take control over this situation right now. Let me get out of self and get in the way and get out of your way. In Jesus' name that we pray. Amen. Guys, so my name is, before we start, I am the host of the Night Talk here on the Freedom Revolution Network and your guys' minister here on Wednesdays. So, like I said, this is a little different from what I'm going to do. Um, so, my name is Dwayne Land. I was born March 21st, 1998, in Alliance, Ohio. My mother, Billy Seyfried, and my father, Dwayne E. Lanham Sr. Um, so, um, when I was born, it was the home wasn't exactly chaos, um, but it was sometimes. Um, you know, growing up, there was a lot of um, things going on in the home. There was a lot of violence. I watched my dad hit my mother. Um, I would run, I would hide. I'd be scared. Because as a little kid, you're never supposed to see that. And Kevin, I'm giving my testimony this afternoon. Um, and when you see that, um, it's like racing through your mind that is everything going to be okay? Is everything going to be all right? Um, and it was weird, because I was always running and hide. I'd always run and hide in the bathroom behind the clothes hamper, or I would hide under my bed, just to get away from it. Was I worried about my mom? Yeah, I don't know. But at the time, it was like I just wanted to get away. I just wanted to get away. I didn't want to hear the screaming. I didn't want to hear the yelling. I didn't want to hear what was going on. And this is going on for a while. This is going on for a long time. And um, when he would hit my mom, it would just like anger me inside. It would hurt me. It would break me. And I watched my mom go through that. Um, Fast forward, 2001, I was 3. My baby sister, I'm not giving any names, came into the world. Um, the best blessing I've ever had in my life. I wouldn't say my life, but at that time was my sister. She was my little sister. She was my everything, and she still is my everything. Um, so growing up, it was hard. It was one of the hardest things I went through as a kid. My mom and dad got separated, and my mom and dad got separated, and then I ended up going with my mom. I had a lot of behavioral issues growing up, a lot of anger issues. Um, and it was like this. Like I grew up in a home that I wouldn't say dysfunctional. I would say a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, and a lot of emotions for somebody to deal with, for even a kid my age to deal with. We're gonna fast forward a little bit. I went and lived with my dad in about 2004, 2005, 2003, 2004. I went and lived with my father. Um, and this is where it's gonna get kind of graphic. My dad was a drunk. My dad was a drug addict. Um, Something you guys heard me say a lot on there. Would beat me, kick me, sexually assault me. And like I said, I just went through a lot with this man. Every day when I came home from school, when we moved into the trailer park, it was beatings, and it was getting thrown through windows, thrown through walls, thrown through doors, uh, getting hit with objects, getting hit with pretty much anything he could grab his hands on. Anything he can grab his hands on is what he hit me with. But at the same time, my dad was my rock and my shield. Do I regret going and living with the man? I didn't necessarily. I didn't necessarily know what he was going through, so I don't 100% blame him for what happened. I don't blame myself either. But I'm gonna get not into details, but Parents, if you get kids around, just please pay attention. My dad sexually assaulted me as a kid. My dad hurt me in ways that I can't imagine. There would be days that I would wake up and he wasn't home, and then days later find out my father was in jail. There was days I had to fend for myself. Like I had to learn how to cook, I had to learn how to clean, and I had to learn how to I had to learn how to do a lot of things as a kid growing up. Not something that someone around the age of 8 years old wants to do. Is learn how to fend for yourself, make whole meals just so you'd be fed. Um, when I would go over to my mom, she would find bruises or lice all over my body, all over my body. When she would shave my head, there would be bruises from back to forth. Constant nightmares, agony, hurt, pain, confusion every time he hit me, every time he sexually assaulted me, every time he yelled at me. I had people who witnessed it and did nothing, but then I had a mother fighting for me, fighting for every step of the way for me to come home. For her to get her kid back. And save me from the hell that I was going through. Save me from the emotional turmoil I was experiencing. Fast forward about 2008, my dad passed away. April 13th of '08, my father passed away. My father committed suicide the night before. I'm supposed to go with my grandma to church on that Saturday. That next Sunday, it was a Saturday. It was April 12th. I remember the day so clearly. I remember the day so clearly when my dad died. My grandma came and got me, took me back to our trailer. My dad's trailer was in the middle lot, so I was in the third allotment to the right. She lived in the first allotment on the left. Saw vans and everything outside my dad's trailer, and I knew. I knew that my dad was gone. Gone. And not saying I was okay with it because I wasn't, but I knew that God had done for me, God had done for him what he could not have done for himself. And when that happened, my mom the same day was there to bring me home. So after that, for a while, the behavioral issues started coming out. The behavioral issues started coming out. I started having severe behavioral issues, hospitalizations, coming off of a lot of different medications that my dad had me on. Um, it was a mess. It was a mess growing up. Um, and it was a wreck. Coming off of so many different medications. Um, behavior issues started getting locked up, started becoming aggressive. And so I'm going to fast forward about 2009, 2009, I was arrested for for a domestic violence against my mother. I hit my mom. My mom restrained me immediately afterwards. And next thing you know, Massillon Police Department was arresting me for domestic violence. Anytime I was arrested, my mom would let me sit to learn my lesson. Um, and I knew what I did was wrong. I knew. I knew what I did was wrong. I knew what I did was not okay. And like I said, I wasn't, I wasn't okay. I was going through a lot of things. I was still using things and people as a crutch. I kept, how do I put this? I kept using my dad's death as a crutch to excuse the way I was behaving, to excuse the things that I have done because I just didn't want to admit that I had behavioral issues or that I was wrong. I didn't want to admit that I was in the wrong. If you would come to me now and ask me if I was in the wrong then, what would my answer be? My answer would be yes. My answer would be is yes, I'm in the wrong. You know, but looking at it today, I was truly 100% in the wrong. I was going through a lot, but I was blaming other people for my actions. I was blaming other people for the consequences I was getting because I did not want to take responsibility. I'm in and out of jails. I'm in and out of the hospital. I'm trying to commit suicide. I'm self-harming. Now watch this. I moved back in with my mom after foster care in 2000. I was in foster care in 2010. Came home in 2011. My 13th birthday. 2 years later, I'm arrested again after so many hospitalizations. By the way, I am arrested in my high school for telling some very cute females some very not nice things. I'm just gonna put it that way. The words that came out of my mouth were derogatory, and I'm not gonna tell you guys what I said because then that's just stupid of me. I spent 74 days in jail waiting for a placement, waiting for a placement. Nobody wanted to take me. JROTC did not want to take me. Foster homes didn't want to take me. Nobody wanted to take me besides the Boys Village in Worcester. I was in Lynn Martin when I had this done. Is where I went. And when this was going on, I'm in jail for 74 days. 74 days. And I found God in them 74 days. I was in jail from May 3rd to June 18th. No, it's 45 some odd days. Sorry, I got my days mixed up. 45 some odd days from May 3rd to June 18th. I was in jail. I was in lockup. So, as I'm sitting here in lockup, these pastors are coming in. This is where my testimony truly starts coming. These pastors start coming in. The um was in and out of jail, was in and out, like I said, these pastors started coming in, and I truly started hearing God's voice. Didn't really want to admit it, but I did, but I ignored it. So June 18th of 2013, I am placed in a foster home in the boys' village. Um, and let me tell you this, it was an experience I'll never forget. Fucking Scarlet. It was an experience I would never forget. Being in this facility, and then going to residential, and then the nonstop bullying because I came out as bisexual, the nonstop bullying, the nonstop criticism that I was getting from these kids. I was bullied because we had to read our journals out loud. We had to tell people things that, I. What's up, Scarlett?
What's up?
If you have any questions for this, don't hesitate to ask.
I will.
Um, being in this facility, and after I went into foster care in this facility, I got removed for sexually acting out with another boy in the facility, which is where I first came out as bisexual. And then being hospitalized because Dwayne had a fear of cops at this time. And when you hear
No, I have a question.
what's
Do you
up,
think that that's a common theme in these type of facilities? Just because I was in similar, not quite similar facilities, but like as I was older. And do you feel like that just comes out of the situation that you're in because all you guys are kind of there, a little bit broken, not having affection? Do you think it comes out of something like that, just a closeness that you
it
wanted to be with other people?
it can, but in my situation, I knew because okay, so let me back up into my childhood
Right, right,
a
right.
little bit into my teens.
I just thought
So
I would ask because I've seen that behavior happen in other places.
right,
Why I mentioned this, so I just wonder if it's more of a product of what you're in, more so than. Does that make sense?
yeah, it does. So growing up, I knew I was bisexual because I was still
Okay.
acting out with boys. And when my mom went through my PS3 history, because I forgot to delete it the night before I got arrested, um, she went in and was seeing like guy on guy porn, guy on female on female porn, so she knew like something was up. I just didn't tell her.
Right.
I didn't come and tell my mom until I think I was 16.
Okay.
Until at least I believe I was 16. Which I was still in the facility at the time. But and then the one thing with the product of these facilities, yes, you're around women most of the day because my foster family was a wife and a husband.
Okay.
But that was different. That was an act. We were with an actual family.
Right. Whether rather than you guys are there with staff,
Right. We were placed with an actual husband and wife. And now, don't get me wrong, Mr. Mike and Miss Heidi, they took care of us. Um, they loved on us. They did, and they tried to love on me, but I rejected it.
Right.
Um, not that I was not used to being loved and everything. At that time, I was just going through so much behavioral issues that there was no way I could feel that they were trying to love on me and help me through this.
I mean, there's a whole issue with foster families too that Red and I have went through throughout the years that there's a lot of especially as you're coming in. I mean, and there's a lot of abusive foster families too. So, I get it. These
They
people were
were
trying to show you the right way, but you weren't necessarily ready for that type of love from them
right,
because, to be honest, you did have a family. You were only
right,
using foster care as a stepping stone to get to your next level of treatment, really. It wasn't necessarily that you didn't have a mom or a dad that loved you, that wanted you at home. It wasn't that. So that makes a
right.
big difference, I think, as far as you accepting them, because to be honest, you didn't really need them to necessarily show you that you were loved. Does that make sense? Because your parents loved you.
Right. Well, the next
Whereas
family that I
other
went to,
kids who are going, but I just wanted to say one thing, just like other kids who are going, you got to think about this. They're going because they don't have nobody,
right, and there
you
was
know?
one family within this facility that I would go and stay what's called respite when it's your foster family needs a break.
Yep.
You
Respite is
know,
also used in autism and other special needs as a
yep.
break for the parents. So yeah, I know what respite is. I'm qualified for respite, but I've never ever used it.
So the one family I was with, man, when they loved on me, man, it was like open arms. I accepted it. It was Mr. Pastor E and Miss Mina. We all called him Mr. E. He hates being called by his actual name, so it was Mr. E. Mr. E or Pastor E. Um, or Pastor Ed. Um, but when this family loved on me, I let them.
Right.
They were compassionate. They never yelled. They never screamed at you when you did something wrong. They actually tried to sit down and talk with you about the behavior. They addressed the behavior differently than a lot of the parents did in this
Right.
facility. Um, I wasn't locked down. I was in an actual home.
Right.
And like this family loved on me. And when I asked to be placed in a different home, and Ed and Mina stuck up for me, Department of Job and Family Services said no. The Village
What?
Network said no. Yeah, the Village Network said no.
See, and that's the type of shit. You know what I mean? When you've got somebody, and I'm not trying to be rude to this facility, but when you've got a family who knows a child a little bit more than the facility does, you should take their opinion into consideration.
Right, and like they were getting me involved in their church, and they went to bat for me saying we'll pick him up every morning, every Wednesday night and every Sunday morning, and he can stay with us, and have dinner, and go to church service with us, and we'll bring him home.
Right.
but my foster family said no because then the other kids would have to have the same privilege. My foster family was Methodist. Me, however, was not. I used to identify as non-denominational, but now I identify as apostolic.
Right, right, right.
Apostolic Pentecostal. So moving forward, after the hospital stay, I got placed in residential because my foster family, one, they were having a baby.
Yep.
And two, I don't think I said this, it was a sex offender facility, but it was the only place that would really take me. Nowhere in the state of Ohio wanted to take me because of how bad my behavior was.
See, and that's a damn shame, though. Let's really back up to that. I don't care how bad a kid is. I don't give a fuck. If the child is bad, we got to fix the baby. Like, I don't care. There should never be facilities where like we can't take them, because if you were treated like that, let's think of how many other young people in the state of Ohio and across the country, right,
Are treated like that.
are treated like that and have nowhere to go, get no services, get nothing because they're told
JROTC,
wouldn't
JROTC
take
didn't
you.
even want my ass.
Look, see, look, because but you know why, Dwayne? Because JROTC looks for brainwashing children. And see, you couldn't be brainwashed because you are so headstrong, Dwayne. And that's
I am.
half of what it is. It's true. Being hard headed can be a blessing or a curse, man. And at the time in your life that this was happening, it was a curse. You
It
know what I
runs both
mean? Like,
ways now.
it goes both ways now, yep. But it was, particularly for you, a curse. And I understand that but that's not something bad either. You know what? That's how our ancestors have stayed alive through all this tribulation and bullshit, is being the ones who are willing to step up and out and be headstrong and not listen to other shit.
Right. So, I'm gonna go into the residential story of this. So I was
Oh, you
placed in
just
Stark
went
Cottage.
robot,
Now
bud.
there's. Oh, hold on. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, but I want to make sure that's not my device. Migto, can you give us like a confirmation on this robot voice thing? Because
It shouldn't
I've
be
never
because
heard
I'm
it from
plugged
you.
in to the internet and the headphones.
Well, maybe your headphones are shit.
There shouldn't be shit. I just got them.
Well, let us know. Yeah, I'm Lutheran as far as Christianity goes. I was baptized Lutheran as a baby. I like what Luther came out with. Because basically what Lutheranism is, it's like Catholicism without the Pope and all
Yep.
the saints
Yep.
and shit. So, it's
No,
very similar in that sect. Oh, and we don't have all the rules and shit. So it was just, kind of like a reborn way
that's
of
what I liked about.
Catholicism.
That's what I liked about apostolics.
Right,
Um,
right. Because I don't
we
know too much
preach
about apostolics.
we preach on the new law instead of the old law. We preach the New Testament. Now, yes,
Right.
Old Testament is feedback from me. Okay, hold on.
Yep.
I
I
don't
knew it.
think I don't think I have my echo cancel. Ah, the problem is we didn't
Yep.
have
That's
echo
what it was.
cancellation on. Okay,
Oh, yep. Yep. Perfect.
so when I went into residential, there's 5 cottages, right? There's
Right.
Smucker, Knapp, Eagles, Jennings, Summit, and Stark. So 6. Sorry. I was placed in
Are
Stark.
those
I was
counties?
placed. No, these are the names of the cottages that were
No, but are the
on
cottages
grounds.
named after counties?
I know Stark was. I don't know about Knapp. Well, Stark and Summit were. Jennings, no. Eagles, no. Knapp, no. And Smuckers, no. Smuckers is named
Okay.
after a
I just
company.
thought it was interesting that they had Stark. You know what I mean? Who was
Stark
Stark?
and
Was he a
Summit.
man?
Stark and
Was
Summit.
Stark a man named after Stark County?
I don't know, but I'll do the research later tonight.
Yeah, let's find out. I just wanted to know because it's interesting when you find out that some of these people actually, like some of these names connect back to people.
So, in these residential facilities, we had to share our journals out loud during our group sessions.
Bruh,
Um,
and you know what? You had brought this up to me before, and I think that that is so inappropriate, so
that's
dangerous,
where
especially to teenagers, right? Because we're
that's where
vulnerable
the
as
bullying
teenagers.
came in.
I bet. I can only imagine.
Um, my arm that you guys see propped up, which is my left arm, it looks like my right because I'm inverted.
Right, right,
Um, my whole arm at that time after the bullying was covered in nothing but superficial marks. Um,
right,
cutting, self harm, try to hang my eye. Um, um, oh God, it's gonna be hard to share. I almost accidentally committed suicide.
right,
Um, I had an old dress class belt and a rope. Put it up in the tree. Climbed up the tree. Was gonna put my head in it, and I decided not to. Okay, I'm gonna go like, okay, I'm gonna come down from this tree. I ain't doing this.
right,
Well, when I decided to come out the tree, I went forward. I fell out the
right,
tree. My neck went in the belt clasped, and I went down.
right.
I had 2 minutes left, and thank God the staff got there within that 2 minutes because I would have been dead. Um, so here's where this really gets interesting. I got put on probation for an assault charge for someone saying they were going to rape my sister. Dude got climbed
I
like a
would get
motherfucking
that ass
tree.
too. I don't give a damn.
That dude got climbed like a motherfucking tree, and I didn't care. I was coming after him. I walked down the hallway like I was going to the door. And I heard him say that. I turned around, staff didn't even see me coming. It took six huge people to get me off of him. I put him in the hospital that night.
Good.
At that point, I was facing
I don't mean to
felony.
be like that. I actually no, wait. I don't mean to be like that, but I don't like anybody who would threaten another human being and say, I'm going to rape your sister. That is such a visceral thing to say to somebody else. Like you're telling me you're going to violate someone who I care about. That is fucked up and violate them in a very intimate and serious way. It's not just like, oh, I'm going to kiss your sister. I'm going to go out with your sister. You know what I mean? Like your sister's cute. I'm going to rape
Yep.
your sister. And as a young man who is already dealing with mental health, I can only imagine to what place that brought you, but extreme rage. Extreme
Um,
rage. Even if he could never talk to your sister or get close to her or anything, it still brought you extreme
let's
rage.
just say this: I put him in the hospital. I was facing felony for assault charges.
Ooh, yeah. But I don't. It's something that obviously, with our new broadcasting rules, we're not supposed to condone violence, right? But I could understand how that could bring you to that level of visceralness, right? That you just had
Right.
to be like visceral, like it's like almost feral, like you lose your sense of compassion and humanity as a human being for that other person and truly want to bring harm to them. Because I
Right.
mean,
And
that it's sick.
well, watch this story. So Stark County has custody of me because I'm a ward of the state. Wayne
Hello,
County
Ronnie.
doesn't. Wayne County doesn't want the case, so they transfer it to Stark County. Stark County says, "Since this did not happen in our jurisdiction, we are not taking that." They bound it back over to Wayne County. Wayne County looked at them again and said, "I don't want this." Transferred it back. They came to an agreement. If they can get me to plead guilty on a disorderly conduct charge, actually on a misdemeanor assault, they would bound it back over to Stark County as a disorderly conduct. It would be a disposition
Now,
case.
how can they play this type of game? Listen to this shit. They just play it with charges.
Well, it's because Wayne County wanted nothing to do with it because they
Well, I
understood the
get that, but
situation.
how can you not want to deal with it? I get why they don't, because that's how shady police officers are. But like seriously, listen to what you're saying. They didn't want to
It
deal with it, so they're arguing back and forth between
they
counties about
didn't want to
who's going to
put
take the bond.
they didn't want to put me in prison, is what they didn't want to
I
do
get
because
that,
with
and
the
you shouldn't
felony
have had
for
to go into prison. You already are in a mental institution and facility, which to some degree gives you a mental buffer as far as
Scarlet,
using a
I I almost killed him that
I
night.
get
That's one
that, but
thing.
he also threatened to rape your sister, which isn't
He
just,
he
that's
got
like
he
terroristic
got
threat.
further he got further charges on top of that.
I
So did
bet he
I.
did, because that's like terroristic threats. For real. That's not something that you can just get away with saying and acting like. And when these
Right.
people are already potential predators or offenders, and this is when you're at that sex offender facility.
Yep. So watch this.
See,
So I
they
go to
were
court.
playing that, you know?
I go to court that morning and I plead guilty. The judge asked me what happened, and I explained in
Right,
detail what
right,
happened. I told
right,
her that someone threatened to rape my sister, and I said, Your Honor, excuse my language, but I beat the shit out of him. Point blank
right.
simple.
Like I said, I could see how you could get to that point. Like,
I
I
already
don't
had an
have a
attorney before I
sister. I
walked in
don't
the
have a
door.
little sister to protect, right? I
Yes,
don't have
Pam,
an
we
older.
slept.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no, I went to bed right after I got off and then woke up at like 11, and one of my kids is still asleep. And so I just, yeah, no, it's a lazy
We
day.
slept. So watch this. When I went to court, I already had an attorney waiting for me in there. I didn't ask for an attorney or nothing. Wayne County
Right,
already appointed me one.
right,
So they dispositioned it into Stark County. I go to court for Stark County, not facing any jail time. I'm facing probation. Didn't know I was facing probation at this
right,
time, just no jail time. I got to pick my probation officer out
right.
because there was a probation officer that had a lot of kids in there from Stark County, and I knew her really well from the incident from sexually acting out with one of her kids. So she had to talk to me anyways to see if it was consensual or was it rape. So I requested
Right.
her. Do you
But
want
I
to know
mean, what
what
do
she
you
had to do
expect
to
when you
get?
put hormonal children together at like between the ages of 11 and let's say 17? What are they
Pretty much.
expecting? I mean,
Pretty much.
honestly, let's be honest. I mean,
Well,
when
now the
even when I was
facility added
in,
females. The facility now
yeah,
has females there.
but you know what? That's the one thing that I want to talk about, especially with rural mental health services. They do some really fucked up things. For instance,
I know. You're roboting, hon. Hold on. You're roboting.
I moved. Damn it, I moved. And I
Stop
thought I
fucking
could
moving.
sit in my bedroom. Well, I wasn't, but I thought I could sit in my bedroom just fine. And sometimes it doesn't always work. Um,
But let me say this real
Hold
quick.
on, let me finish my thought though. When I went, go ahead, Dwayne. Go ahead. Just go ahead.
When so my probation officer starts getting all these critical
No,
incident
let me
reports
finish.
coming in,
No,
right?
now let me finish. Hold on, let me finish, Dwayne. Now I remember because I actually forgot and I was going to
Okay.
go ahead, but then I remembered. Um, during that time, I eventually was misdiagnosed with like dehydrative psychosis.
Oof.
So that was like long story short, but I had to go through 4 years of bullshit through psych wards to get there. And one in particular in Hutchinson, Minnesota.
Oof.
Okay, and this is out in western Minnesota, but southwestern. So that's probably maybe it was 2 hours from the cities. Might be closer to me out here. I haven't really looked at where it's at, but out there they have a combined adult and children ward.
Yep, that's how one here in
And
Ohio
I
is
thought that
Laura
was the
Winslow.
most fucked up shit I've ever seen. Do you know? Okay, so I had a roommate, right? And there was this creepy ass dude who was like watching me from like the moment I got in there, right? Because I was like the youngest person in there, right?
Right.
And there's adults who get to go out for cigarette breaks. At that point, I was like 16. I smoked cigarettes. I was dying, bruh. So I had to watch all these adults smoke cigarettes. Shit, they're like, "We'll give you a patch." Oh, you can give me a patch, but I can't smoke a cigarette if I have my own. Okay, just good to know that you can just give out nicotine anyway. Okay, good to know. So this man went in my fucking room though, you guys, and I caught him in my room. And he was standing in there going through my things. Now, I had a particular way that I carried myself with just like an extreme level of OCD, because that was the way I knew if somebody was in my room, whether it was staff, whether it was my roommate, and I knew if shit was moved, right? And so this dude was in my room, and I think And I had to freak out to the fucking staff, and I was like, I will call the state and shut this shit down. I was like, do not play with me. I will shut this shit down. You better keep fucking grown ass men out of my fucking room. I'm a child. I'm a minor in the state of Minnesota. Do you know how big of a lawsuit you'll have out here? You won't even have a facility. I promise you that.
Right. And
And
Bonnie,
that's the danger that we got to think about. What
right,
type of situations are we putting children in? What type of offenders are we putting children with?
right, Bonnie,
Are the levels correct? You know what I mean? Are you putting people with super serious people when maybe you could put them with a little bit lesser? How are they making these decisions? Because I think that they're not thinking about the situations that they are exposing already
right,
mentally unstable children to when they put them in these places with all different types of people from all different types of backgrounds.
right. And Bonnie, I'm gonna
See,
say this.
look what Benny, look what Bonnie said. Look.
That's what I'm getting ready to address. Bonnie, yes, I wasn't arrested. I was reprimanded in the court. I was charged though from video evidence. But I will say this: it was one of the biggest blessings in my life, and I'll explain why. Okay, so watch this. So when my probation officer got in, she starts getting all these critical incident reports of the self harm. And when I self harm, they had to physically get hands on with me. They're trained in CPI restraints. You never hit the floor. They're all standing up restraints.
I'll be
Um,
damned if they ever restrained me. They
they
never
had to,
could.
Scarlett, because
Bruh,
when I
I
say
was
my
crazy as
whole
fuck.
when I say my whole
Bruh,
arm was fucked, my whole arm was
bruh.
fucked.
You ain't
You
seen shit
can't.
on. I've never showed you anything on me, Dwayne. So I will just we'll just agree to disagree on that. But here's the deal. What I'll tell you is that because of my strong will and because I knew I wasn't there for that, because I knew I had health conditions and I knew I was sick, but they told me it was all in my head. And they told me that there was something wrong with me. And this is the problem of the mental health systems that now think about this, Dwayne. Think about this. Right now, they said 36% of people our age have suicide ideation right now.
I
Before
read
the
that last night.
pandemic, it was 3.4% for people our age. What in the actual fuck? If
Well,
we don't think that this shit that we went through isn't going to happen worse to people right now, they are mistaken.
and that's why I'm sharing my testimony here. Now, watch this. When I say
Absolutely.
that my probation officer was the biggest blessing of my life, the
Right.
state was not willing to remove me from the facility.
What the hell?
The only thing my probation officer could do to get me out of there, and thank God she did, was she had to file a probation violation for disorderly conduct.
Oh, right. Some of these people who work in mental health or alcohol counseling have to lie. Have to lie.
Well, well,
One
watch
of my
this.
close friends, we had to lie and get her a Rule 25 so she could get out of the house that she was in that was abusing her. We had to lie and get her a Rule 25. Lie.
Well, watch this.
And
So
the counselor was cool with it because she knew that was the only way to save her.
June 18th, I was locked up again. I
Right.
did 2 weeks. Thank
Right.
God for a facility called Mohican Youth Academy.
Right.
This facility saved my fucking life. None of y'all knew me then, but if y'all seen the way I was acting, y'all would understand when the Bible says you're heading to a place you never want to go.
Right.
The gnashing of teeth, the never endless pain. That's where I was heading.
Right. You were losing it. You were just losing it. And I understand because I've seen people at all different levels of mental stability in these places, Dwayne. Because I got to start when I was a young person and I ended when I was an adult. And so I even was in an adult ward for an amount of time. And Bonnie, that's right. I was
Mm-hmm.
labeled with actually bipolar. I was actually diagnosed bipolar and all these other comorbid mental health disorders, of which I do believe I have anxiety and these other things and other mental health disorders. But that's only because the treatment I've been through and the sheer hell and almost death I've been put through at the hand of my chronic illness, right? But I do
Right.
believe all the stress I went through for all those years in mental health facilities and the way they treated me and all the drugs they put me on and all the shit I took. By the age of 18, I was on 21 different prescription medications, including at least eight mental health medications.
I'm gonna say
So
this
it's
when.
like, it's wild what they put people through.
Hmm.
And people don't understand how screwy
They
it is. Because I've been on the
they
inside.
don't.
I've watched people be treated like shit. I have watched myself be treated like shit. I've had to cuss out these staff members. Man, see, look, they didn't like me back in the day, but all the nurses eventually, after the first or second time they met me, they loved me. And they knew that I was just going through some shit that they couldn't necessarily figure out and that nobody was willing to look at, because you can't even be seen. One thing that needs to stop immediately in these mental health facilities is that you can't be seen medically inside of the facility. That needs to
Actually,
stop.
we can now. You can now in
That's a
certain
human rights
states.
violation. If you're on, nope, if you're in a psych ward, they will not let you see medical treatment. And that's a big issue, because one time they almost killed me. Y'all, they almost killed me. I was in there, okay, and I had been in there for a couple weeks, and my mom would come visit me occasionally. And, I was just getting super sick, and my mom took me home on a pass, and I was getting progressively sick throughout the day to where I was like, I just have to go back. Like, I just don't feel good. And I was thinking like it was like an extreme anxiety attack or something like that, which I had often because of what I had been through.
Right,
But I go back to the hospital and I'm getting like damn near delirious. And I'm like, something's got to freaking change. I'm like, I'm literally dying. And they didn't want to listen to me. I'm like, seriously, like, it's time for me to go to the ER. Like, this ain't cool no more. Like, I'm literally dying. And they're like, bullshit. You can't go anywhere. If you leave, you're going to have to be medically AMA'd. And I was like, look, I don't care. I'm inside of a fucking hospital. There is no reason why I can't go seek medical treatment right now. Like, I was
right,
like not seeing straight. I wasn't talking right. My roommate was very concerned, like, with my appearance. And eventually I get them. I was like, I'm calling my mom. I'm gonna freak the fuck out. And I'm getting to see a doctor. They let me out eventually after much a grin. I go down to the ER. I see the ER doctor. He starts doing tests. He's like, holy shit, you're like extremely dehydrated. If you don't get fluids within like the next couple hours and we can rehydrate you, your body is in danger of going into like complete organ failure. He goes,
right,
where have you been? And I said, I've been upstairs in the psych ward. And they're like, he's like, are you for real? Are you for real? Is this real?
right,
Like, is that a joke? And he said, you're going to have to come with me, and I'm going to be going up there and I'm going to be having a talking to with them about this, because this is the worst case that I have ever seen. And you would literally be dead if you didn't facilitate for your. He's like, so you're telling me they don't let you go see any medical treatment if you have physical symptoms from even the medication? I said, no. He said, doctors aren't even aware of in these systems that these people don't, half the time, don't talk to each other. Half of the police, half of the probation officers, half of the facility people, they don't have conversations with each other. They
right.
don't talk to each other about what's actually happening and what's going on. And this is why it puts people like you at a detriment, and people like everybody else who's out there. Because if we're just two people, how many more people exist?
Right, and here's the thing, like I was saying, when I got moved into this facility, it was a Christian based program, right?
Right,
And it saved my life. I got baptized when I was there. I joined
right.
the praise band, which is why. So, you guys have been
Why do you
asking
think
about
it's
this
such a big
story.
thing to you?
Yep, that's how you guys have been asking about the story about the guitar, and I told you I would share it when I was ready. When I
Aw.
graduated, April 21st, and that is the second guitar I've ever played in that facility.
Mhm.
They gave me that guitar for free.
Hmm.
This facility took care of the kids. And when I say you ate good, girl, you ate good. Miss Haney, oh
Right.
my God, man. She was, and I tell you
But
this,
I
she
think
could probably,
food's a part of healing, right? And when you eat good food,
bruh, it was
it
soul
can,
food.
right. It feeds your soul because you're feeding yourself and you're looking forward to that really hearty, loved cooked meal, right? Because that's really what soul food is about.
Bro,
There's love in it. It's not just the
she
ingredients. There's
she
love.
wasn't just the cook. She taught mime. I did
Mhm.
mime dancing. I did I was part of the praise band. I was part of the drama club. They had football, basketball, softball, and a traveling basketball team.
Right.
And I played all sports.
Mhm.
Every group got to play sports. There's 9 groups. I'll go from one end of the hallway to the other, if I can remember. Hold on. Spartans, Titans, Panthers, Vikings, Dragons, Eagles, Aztecs, Cavaliers, and then there was one group that came back. The Mustangs, which got disbanded when I was there, came back
Right.
when I was there. So there's 9 groups, there's about 70 kids. Now, when I tell you they were rough, if you got, when I tell you this like military ran, it was, Scarlett, you ball your fist up, like even at a staff member, you were getting dropped to your back.
Oh yeah.
Because
I mean,
they
there's
had a,
just a level of decorum that you need in these facilities, right? And like Bonnie said, people heal better when they sense love around them in a facility and give them normal social activities. Because when you think about some of
it,
these facilities and some of the things they have people doing, it's really remedial. Now, some of the skills that I did learn when I was in the system at Everett Northwestern here in Minneapolis, that's where I almost spent all of my time. There's other psychiatric facilities, but this one specialized better in kids, and that's pretty much where everybody goes. Now, some people end up going to like used to go to like Fairview, which dude, I could tell you fucking horror stories. There was kids in there starting fires, smoking weed, like all types of shit in a hospital, y'all. And that wasn't happening at the hospital I went to. But
but you know what?
there, they would actually teach you skills. Like I learned how to leather stamp and make like leather bracelets and this and that. And I learned how to do ceramics and I learned how to do lots
Yep.
of different things that I didn't necessarily have skills for. But they also spent time and would bring you into the kitchen so that you could cook. I go, oh, I feel so bad for these kids in the pandemic, and they're, oh my god, they probably have them fucking wearing masks, and they can't even like talk or touch or do any activities with each other or sit next to each other for movie time or nothing. These poor goddamn kids. Damn, I
But do you
really
know
didn't
what?
think
Like,
about them.
right. But we're going to get to that in a minute because I kind of want to finish this up.
Yeah,
My
no,
part of
go
my
ahead,
story.
finish it. Well, no, it's
So,
about the
my,
love that you experience. That
yeah,
makes
the
building that much
love,
sense.
there was rough, there was tough love. Like, when you got restrained, it was tough because some of us were out of control. Like, I went in there with, like, my fucking ego blown up. Like, motherfucker, you can't touch me.
Right.
Like, I'll
Like,
do whatever the fuck I
it's my ass
want.
Braveheart shit, right? I get it.
But so when I was in the Titans originally, well, Mr. Goolsby the one day had to get involved in my restraint because I tried to cut myself.
Right, right,
And these staff do love you, and that's why they go hands on with you, and that's why they restrain you. Is that way you don't hurt yourself.
right. Well, you can't
You
have
know,
kids out here hurting themselves, but I mean, kids could hurt themselves with anything. You know the little foil juice that they used to give you at school and shit that had the little foil top? We had people
yep.
cutting themselves with that shit, okay? You can use anything. So, I mean, you have to find a way to basically level with these kids. You know what I mean? You treat them almost as you would treat your own if you're in a good facility.
Right. So
People
Mr.
actually care
Right.
about you as a person. They get to know you. You're not just there as a patient or as a resident. You're there as a human being going through a hard time. Because when I would sit in these, especially when I became an adult and got to sit for one of the last times in group
That would
sessions,
concern me.
oh shit, that's terrible. Um, Yeah, that type of stuff, I don't know how to deal with those eccentric type behaviors. But like when I sat in a group as an adult, I sat there with all different types of people. There was a woman there who had to in the late 50s, early 60s, have her baby at one of those Catholic mother facilities and give her baby up. So she was all fucked up in the head because of that, and she was trying to meet her new son and all that stress that she was going through, and would he like her and would he understand? But then the trauma that she went through with her parents. Okay, we had another guy who literally was one of the animators who worked on Ren and Stimpy.
Hey,
Right. He
show
was
that I'm
at
common
school
with.
one day. he was at school, and he his colleagues and called the freaking police on him, and like said he was like going crazy. And so like when they came to like snatch him up, he's like, whoa, wait, what, oh my god, no, absolutely not, this is crazy. And then they were like, yeah, you're crazy because you're acting like this. And he really didn't do anything. Like he was just depressed, and he had told a few coworkers like, look, I'm having a really hard time, my wife left me, this shit is shit. He wasn't trying to harm himself or anyone else, but they picked him up from work and just grabbed him up like Nazis and threw him in the damn fucking psych ward. There are
You
people from
know,
all different backgrounds, all different walks of life. We have
right,
people who are very well to do, very not well to do. But the one thing that I can say is everybody who was there were just a small form of broken people. It wasn't things that each individual couldn't work through. You could see that everybody was a collection of their experiences. And once you have someone who honors that, that can help you move through the next step of your life, because you don't have to be damaged. You can be
right.
broken,
So
and
watch
that
this.
doesn't mean you can't be better, and that's what I think people forget. It's the people who write off those type of kids or those type of people or those with mental illnesses. I think don't give those people room to grow.
Right, watch this. So the group I was in, like I said, I got moved, which was the Aztecs. Mr. Goolsby became my best friend.
Right.
I started moving up through the phases, and as orientation phase, you're not allowed to leave campus with the other kids
Okay. Right.
because you're still considered them high risk. You could AWOL, whatever. I've seen it happen. Trust me, I've seen it happen. I'll get into
Yeah,
that here in a
they
little bit.
did they did something like that where I was at, where you could only go outside with like people who like have gotten so far, and you know what I mean. So you get out like your little walk like a dog outside and shit. Like it was out of
Well,
control. But anyway,
also, when you reach the higher phases, you were called the higher phase of the group.
right.
Like you had higher phase night, you had a higher phase night outings. Like Mr. Goolsby would take us. Like when Ride Along 2 came out, you want to know what we did? Miss Haney came with us because we were her favorite group. We were the well. When I say my group was the most well behaved, we were the most well behaved group. We ran our group of pride.
Right.
So we went out one night. We went
But
to a
that's what
Chinese
you guys
buffet.
could do when you're willing to work together, when you're
Yep,
willing to,
dude.
fight for the same ideas.
All these other groups that had problems with their kids that couldn't handle them. You want to know what group they got sent to?
Hmm.
Ours.
See?
They got some Aztec love, man. Because trust me, when you
Because
fuck up in
what
the
here's the
Aztecs,
deal. Sometimes when people are the most written off are the ones that actually can make the biggest recovery. There's one girl in particular, and I won't say her name, but I met her, and when I met her, she was quite a bit younger than me. And when I met her, they had her on so much motherfucking medication, and I mean so much, y'all. She could not say her own name barely. She was like drooling. Like she appeared to me that she had the mental state of maybe like a 2-year-old when I met her, right? And so, but for whatever reason, she was drawn to me, and I had that effect in people when I was there. I had people come to me and be like, "I'm drawn to you like a light," and she would sit next to me, and for some reason, I could get her to come out of her shell, and no one else could, and she had been there many times. And
you
when
know what?
staff noticed this, hold on, when staff noticed this, they pulled me aside and they were like, "Scarlett, could you like honestly, like we've never seen her react this way to anybody, not even staff, not through medication, not through anyone, right?
Man, like, look,
Could
Miss
you
Haney,
hold on, let me finish. This is a really important story, Dwayne. Could you help her through this time? And could you just like try to be there for her and be friends with her?" Like the staff literally pulled me aside and asked me this. And so I did, because, I kind of felt bad because I could see she was in there somewhere, but like mentally she was not there. And, as
okay.
time went on, I
Hey,
spent
Scar, I
more
have an
time with
audio
her.
issue.
Yeah. Is there though? Because I don't see anything, but at all. But I spent time with her, and eventually I got her. She started talking. She started coming around.
she started like interacting even with other people and with staff, and she actually started thriving. And without me doing that for her and taking on someone that everybody else thought was just like a lost cause, it brought her literally back to life. Literally back to life. And I have never seen anything like that. And we're still friends to this day. And the way she's changed is like night and day. You wouldn't even have known this was the same human being.
Right. And like I had a kid like that, in Mohican, he's from another group. And I was his peer because when you're in orientation phase or a learning phase, you get paired up with another peer.
Okay, so somebody there who's already went through the ropes kind of deal.
Yep. And he was misbehaving and everything. And we had this treatment, stand in one box, arms out, handbooks out. You don't want to listen, you're going to get the tough love. We don't like doing it, but we do. Well, Miss Haney came through the door, and this kid's yelling, screaming, cussing, hooting, hollering. He's just throwing a fit. Miss Haney comes through the door. She's a little bit taller than me now, mind you.
Right.
She came through the door because we were all getting ready to leave for a higher phase night out. She comes up to this kid and gets in his face and going like, "What's all this fussing about? You don't stop. You're getting cereal and toast, and you ain't getting none of the food I cook, and I know you're looking forward to it, so stop your crying."
Aww.
Loved Miss Haney, man. She was amazing. And yes, Bonnie, Miss Haney
Was she black?
was she was black.
Yeah, because I could tell, because only a black mama would say something like that, and then the child would respond like, okay. Like,
Miss
only a black
Haney,
mom has the power to do that. And I don't mean to mean it in a racist way, but that's just real. Only a black mom could say that and get a child to be like, okay, and agree and be okay
right.
with it. I'm telling
And
you, that's real though.
so, like I said, in Higher Face Night Out, we went to this Chinese buffet. Mr. Goldsby took us. All the higher phases from the group got together. It was like 5, 6, what? There was about 12, 13 of us in the group, and I think about 7 of us got to go. And you had to earn it. Like there was other higher phases that night that did not get to go. So we went and watched right along too. Mr. Goolsby, the facility allowed him to drop $150 on snacks for all of us kids. When I say we're walking to our seats with like bags full of stuff, dude, like we had like gummy bears, popcorn, nachos, hot dogs, chips, this, and this. Well, when it came to the religious aspect of Mohican, we have we had service every Sunday and service every Wednesday. Well, when we had Day of Praise, it's a whole day of worship, a whole day of praise, and a whole day of learning. Then we had 3 days of life. Well, my favorite event was Day of Praise because we were playing music all day long. Like we were playing music all day long. Come here. Hold on. I'm getting Kenzie to come lay on me. Come here. I'm getting Kenzie to lay on me. Watch my headphones. Hold on. I'm getting Kenzie to lay on me so I can get comfortable. It's our last day together and it's getting emotional. So, but like I said, so I graduated this facility on the 21st of April on my mom's birthday, and this is where I'm going to end it and get off here so I can relax. Oh, you're cold? Why did you get off me and cover up the blanket down here, Goofy?
Continue, Joanne.
But I graduated on of April 21st of 2016. My mom got to see me walk and get my high school diploma. I graduated high school April 11th of 2016. I graduated early. And then 10 days later, I walk out of that facility a new man. And I'll tell you this, it's the most amazing thing that has ever happened to me. through the shit I went through as a kid, through being through 2 different facilities in a 2.5 year time span, it was it was a blessing. It was a blessing in disguise. Stop shaking. And I don't know, Scarlett. I wouldn't change my past for anything.
Well, you can't change the past because then you wouldn't be who you are now, right? And so, yeah, you may have done things maybe a little differently, but would you really? Because it brings you to different points in your life that you may not have been otherwise. And so we have to appreciate that to some degree, we use our intuition to make our decisions and choices, right? And that we have to trust that we as individuals who have taken in the information to create our own sets of morals and rights and beliefs to then use that to guide our lives, right? And so you shouldn't want to change who you are, even if you've done terrible things, because that still brings you to the point where you couldn't look back and be like, well, I did those things. See, I don't think regret is something that people should have unless it's maybe something that you don't try to do, but I don't think it's somewhere you should live your life either, though. You make your choices in life for a reason, and whatever that
Right,
choice is, contrary to popular ideals or even your own convictions at times, I think whatever decision you end up making, you do it for a
right.
reason.
And guys, I'm seeing this, and I did this testimony today because, one, we're in the National Suicide
Look,
Awareness
we get
Month.
to actually see Bonnie. Look. It's actually Bonnie in the profile picture. Look,
I
look,
know
look,
it
look.
is.
Ah, I love it.
I did this testimony today to show you guys no matter what you go through, no matter what happens, trust the process and trust the healing because it can happen. When I got out, it wasn't easy. I got hooked on drugs real bad. I was running around doing X and heroin, overdosing, not giving a fuck if I died.
Right, which that's
Kept doing
bad.
it.
Yeah, that's bad. That's not good.
And here I am. I'm coming on 11 months this month. No drugs. I mean, besides weed, but that's besides the point.
Yeah,
We ain't gonna talk about
we
that
kind of
though.
had a discussion about that. I don't really feel that that's a drug necessarily. Everybody has an endocannabinoid system, and there's no reason why we would actually have a bodily function system that would actually process that chemical if we didn't need it.
Right,
That's
but
just kind
guys,
of my opinion on cannabis. So,
the reason I'm on here, and I'm not gonna take up my whole 2 hour time slot today because I got other things I gotta do. But I did tell Scarlett I was gonna come on here. Thank you, Bonnie. That means a lot. Um,
I mean, everybody should
guys.
celebrate their wins in life, right? Wherever you can
Yeah,
make it into life, you should celebrate those things that you've overcome, that you've wanted to change. You
don't
know,
squish my foot.
I think that's a part of becoming an adult. I think that's a part of growing bigger, becoming more empathetic to you and others around you. Something that we're losing in our society right now as we keep continuing to get locked down further than ever before.
Right. And I will say this, before I get off tonight. If you guys are struggling, you can always reach out to me and Scarlett.
True.
Um,
True.
guys, I don't do this, but if you need someone to talk to, 330-353-8527. Reach out, text me. Um, I'm up throughout the night, and if you guys need Scarlett, I can get to her as well, and we'll both be there for you guys. This is a time that when we need to be here for each other, where mental health isn't a joke. And I'm going to say this with pride. I'm finally going to a motherfucking neurologist.
Yay. And
So
if
I'm
they
going to
don't
go
try to
figure out
figure
what's
out and put you inpatient to figure out what's wrong, I swear I'm gonna go down there and like start a riot outside Cleveland tonight. I'm for
They
real.
will.
I'm done with this because they need to start focusing on whatever it is that's causing them, idiopathic or not, whatever or not, and get you into the proper testing and get you in and watch you for a while and watch these in action and wait for one to happen because or at least tell you, put you on an ambulatory list that when you do have them, you can get in right away and they start doing scans and see what's going on. Whatever it
Yep.
is, they've got to come up with a plan of action, give you some type of rescue medications, change the medications you're on, whatever, and start trying to find ways to get you back to some normal function.
Bonnie, we
And not
called
having these
that.
more and more damaging ones, you know?
Right, Bonnie, I've been saying that for a good minute.
Yeah. And his
But
mom has
guys,
grand mal. And so, you know
yep.
what I mean? That's something that he really does have to consider because his mother only has grand mal, but they're not often. And so that is something. So I've been telling Dwayne, like, no, as they continue, and we have video proof. Like, I'll be damned. They can go watch all the videos. Like, idea. So it's like, it's not
I'm
like
just
we
gonna.
don't have proof. And if you have to sit there and find all these and show them, that's what you need to do too. To be like, no, you're gonna look at it, you're gonna watch this. Like, it's not just for my shits and gigs, it's because I catch them when I'm on air. So here you go. You've got multiple 50 times this year that you could show them. So I mean, you need to start paying attention to it. I'd really use that as evidence if I were you. And I'd be like, no, you're gonna sit here and watch every time. Like, because you need to understand that this isn't a joke. I literally have like a video diary of them technically. Not every single one I have, but a lot of them have occurred on air. Just saying.
Right. But guys, with this, I'm gonna
And if
leave
they're
you.
doing video conference and telemedicine with everybody, they can look at a video and see something too multiple times over.
Oh no, I'm going in. But guys, I'm gonna leave you with this today. Stay strong. Stay strong. I know that you may see a lot of darkness, but I promise you there's a light at the end of the
They're
tunnel.
gonna get worse right now. That's where we're
It's
at
good.
this point in time.
It's gonna get worse before it gets better. But guys, from the seas to the sky and from a world that is made beautiful by God, who is all knowing, loving, powerful. Good night, y'all. Scarlett.
But from the land of 10,000 lakes, good afternoon, everyone.